Oh
It's
my goodness.
it's Jamie
Yeah.
here. I mean, he's a busy man, and it's getting getting to be like that nowadays. So
That's
I'm
right.
just happy to see him.
yeah, he popped in for the first NFL game of the season, week one. Um, I can't even explain how excited I am right now. As you see, I don't even know how to act right now, Jamie. So I gotta ask you some questions about how you do this,
All right.
because you've been in my situation numerous times. All right, as you see, I got my Orioles shirt on,
Mm-hmm.
and we're in the first week of football season. How do you juggle? How am I supposed to juggle baseball, football, and life? Can you give me some words of wisdom?
Yeah, just one game at a time. And watch lots of Sports Center.
Watch a lot of Sports Center one game at a time. I like it. I like it.
You can only watch so much. You gotta pick and choose what's there and be able to watch. Um, not we all can't afford the NFL package, so we don't get the luxury of watching all the games all the time.
Yeah.
So it's tough. And you know me, I'm always mad about the regional TV broadcast. It drives me crazy. I get it. I understand it. It's money. It's whatever. But man, show the best games on TV. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
black out games anyway, so it's like whatever. Just give me that. That's what I like.
Yeah.
So you
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, that's why. And I'm also always been. I've moved around a little bit before I've settled here in Savannah. I lived out in Seattle, lived in New York, and Wilmington, North Carolina. So I moved around a little bit. And one thing I can also tell you is always root for the home team, no matter where you live. You don't. They don't have to be your favorite team, but root for the home team.
But you don't want to go into a different territory and pick fights and be ugly.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, you got to live there.
my experience as a Yankee fan. I'm hated everywhere.
Oh yeah, you are. It doesn't come easy for you. Not for baseball.
Hey, you're not hated this year.
I know we're everybody loves us this year.
Hey, I mean, touching on baseball too. You guys just won a series against Houston.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, and as an Orioles fan, I'm like, please, everybody, take this month to beat up on Houston as much as possible. Um, but when you look across at the NL, I mean, the Braves,
Yeah,
they've been there, they've done it. They kept guys around, and they're paying them, and it's like a homegrown team that's getting paid right now. But I mean, they check all the boxes. They're
yeah,
that's get. I mean, looking at whoever gets to the World Series from the AL. I mean, the Braves, as you say, root for the home team. I'm not rooting for the Braves,
yeah.
but you can't deny that they look good all over.
Yep.
Glenn,
And
you
then
are rooting for the Braves, man. Braves, Orioles, World
Well, yeah.
Series. You've
I
been
mean, I'm
talking
rooting for the
about it.
Braves
We've been
until
talking about
the
it until
World
then.
Series, but I'm
Until then.
fingers crossed.
this,
Fingers crossed that we
so I
got.
I understand your
Manifest.
jitters about being in first place and committed to the playoffs now because I don't know as if you've well, how old were you last time you experienced that as an
What
Oriole fan?
I
Like a
mean,
team legitimately winning a division and going to the playoffs.
like this, a team like this. I mean,
This a while ago.
I haven't. I can't recall a team like this, and my guess would be the '83 World Series team, and I was 1 year old. So it's like
Exactly.
I definitely, I mean, getting to the playoffs, but I mean, I am like, wow, the whole season we've been one of the best teams, and that's like,
Man, and it's
you've
hard
been
to believe
telling me.
it's
Have
hard to
been
believe
telling
you're
me.
better than Tampa Bay, right now.
It is. I mean, it's these guys.
You have a
I've never
good group
seen
of
the
young
Orioles.
guys.
Yeah, I've never seen the Orioles team buy in like this at all. Buy in so much that I believe it's not this Thursday, but maybe next Thursday, the 15th. Former Oriole Adam Jones is going to make his debut, his 2023 debut with the Orioles. Now, granted, I'm sure it's just a one-day contract, but so he can officially retire as a Baltimore Oriole. Because the thing that I love about that happening, Jamie, I don't know if you remember the days when Adam Jones played center field for us, but
Oh yeah.
this team is built up of an entire organization, an entire team that has Adam Jones mentality, who has fun playing baseball. So, I mean, that's what it's just a lot of fun watching these guys play because they're having fun. It's not the days of watching Chris Davis
Oh,
strike out.
stop. Keep it on the up and up. Don't even say his name.
Yeah, but I mean, and then also talking about fun baseball. I didn't even know this was going on in our backyard this weekend. We had the Savannah Bananas playing the Major League Baseball Players Association. Like, I had no clue, but when I say the Players Association, I'm going to throw out a couple names for you guys. I mean, this is who played the Savannah Bananas this weekend: Curtis Granderson, Nick Schwisser, Heath Bell, Jeremy Guthrie, D. Gordon, and more. Like that, they bring in, I mean, older guys, but big names coming in.
That's pretty cool, man. Doesn't surprise me with the Bananas anymore, honestly.
No,
They got everything going on all the time. I'm a little bored with it, but
I mean, it's not. They're not the Orioles. I'll tell you that.
No.
But you wanna cherry on top. You want a cherry on top?
Do it, cherry me.
All right, I'm gonna cherry you. Brian Luttrell. Now I'm sure you guys don't know that name because I didn't know that name before. From the Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet.
Yeah, exactly. Backstreet.
I wasn't going to say that loud enough for people to really understand it.
Oh, we heard it. Everybody heard it. I had your mic turned up for that one.
I almost danced. So that would have been real bad.
Yeah, I was going to start singing a song, but I'm like, I'm sure this is a Backstreet Boys song, but
See?
I didn't want to put my foot in my mouth and start singing in sync songs.
I always get NSYNC mixed up with them, so I was like, somebody's got to pick me up.
That's right.
All right, so
see, this is how
he came out. He came out and played. They said Jeremy Guthrie got on the phone with him. They met at a concert in Baltimore and got him down to Savannah. He actually played for the Bananas last night. Came out singing a little concert. So I mean, like you said, it's always something happening. So
And it's still the hottest show in town, no matter where they are.
Oh,
It's just a circus. It's like an unintended circus.
I mean, that's
Circus
what.
on the diamond.
It's just entertainment. I mean, it's not a
Yeah.
baseball game, but
That's-
that's fun. Hey, and you had them here, and you had the Bananas here first.
I mean,
We had
Jesse on.
before he even became the Bananas.
He
Really.
told us all about this. She's, I mean,
And then like what we had it all, like a few months later, he went on ESPN and said the same story he told us. You heard it here first, folks.
you heard it here first.
Number one show. In
Then they
Seattle.
did the Hulu special and stuff like that. I mean, but it was here
Yeah.
way back.
All right.
Yeah. So
Let's
besides,
step it up to next.
what was the next thing in your sports weekend that you feel like is deemable to talk about?
Man, probably right quick because while I was here on the show, I always like to talk a little PGA golf because I know I have a lot of fans that listen that play golf.
Yeah.
But obviously the biggest thing in the news the last 2 weeks is the FedEx champion, Chip, last week, ending the season for last year, and with all the excitement, there was a lot of guys ready to win, take a chance at it. But there was this dude that we really haven't heard a whole lot about, Viktor Hovland, who just absolutely played better golf than anybody the last 2 weeks of the season and took the championship, which leads us to the real excitement coming up is the Ryder Cup. And we've had the selections from the U.S. team and now the European team. So both sides are picked. And you will see that tournament the weekend of the 30th. It's like the 29th, 30th, something like that. Don't know the exact dates, but it's the end of the month. And it's going to be fun to watch. I mean, Ryder Cup golf is probably as good or not as much fun as watching like the Masters or any other major.
Okay.
So that's the excitement, and the teams are square up nicely against each other. It's a little bit different with the Ryder Cup now. The U.S. hasn't won in European soil since 1993, and U.S. did win last year at Whistling Straits on U.S. soil. So this should be fun. Yeah, the 29th, 30th, and the 1st. So that's the end of the month. That's something to watch. If you don't really watch a lot of golf, this would be something that would entertain you because it's one-on-one competitions, 2-man competitions against 2-man. Just the way we play golf a lot at the golf course. So it's kind of fun.
Okay. Let me ask you a question about the golf world.
Okay.
Has anything changed since the partnership between PGA and LIV?
Not really at this point. It's sort of been interesting the fact that there hasn't been a lot of talk about it, and even the players don't say much. They're just like, we don't know what's going on. We don't understand the partnership right now. Everybody's confused. It's going to stay 2 separate tours, and the real deal is the live golfers being able to be able to have their world rankings back.
Okay, and playing the majors, pretty much.
Being able to play when they want to play, where they want to play. I think that's. But ultimately, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to have their own tour and they just stay there and include the majors on the live tour.
Yeah.
Keep things the way they are. I don't know.
So everything's pretty much just playing out the way it was for now. I mean,
yeah.
This FedEx Championship is technically the end of the season, right?
Yes, that's the end of season. New
Okay.
season starts up in October, I believe.
Okay. Very shortly.
Oh, actually,
After
no.
the Ryder Cup.
There's one tournament right before the Ryder Cup, and then
All
they're
right.
off for a week. Yeah. So, but it should be good, man. It's kind of a weird setup on account of the fact that the live golfers weren't able to participate, weren't able to really like. I guess they were because they could have, if they qualified, they could have been selected by the captain. But a few guys that probably are usuals, normal guys on the U.S. team are not there, like DJ. Um, it's kind of a turning of the guard with the old school golfers, and now it's a lot of young guys, especially the European team. When you see that, it's a lot. It's a bunch of the young guys. That a lot of them play on the PGA Tour, so they're golfers you're familiar with. Hovland, Rahm, McIlroy, Fitzpatrick, these guys, Terrell Hatton. It's going to be it's going to be fun to watch.
Okay. I'm ready.
And that's all. Got lots more to talk about, right? So I'll try to just do anything but avoid our fantasy draft last night. So just keep moving on to any other subjects we can get to.
But why would you want to avoid the fantasy draft?
Because I was stellar again. I'm going to have another 4-14 season.
Well,
gotta believe, man. Gotta believe.
Yeah, things can happen. We'll see how things go.
Nah, with a team rich with teams like that, man, the talent gets taken quick.
Yeah, it does.
And then it just comes down to, man, who's going to be the next man up, and if you get lucky enough to have that next guy.
Yeah, I mean, it really is about waiver wire and about backup running backs turning into the guy after the starter gets hurt. I mean, it's unfortunate to say that, but at the same time, I mean,
that's the format.
We know how violent this sport is. So
yeah, and the team you draft should not be the team that you have at the end of the year, 99% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, you should definitely have a couple new guys, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I am both of my fantasy drafts yesterday. I went after Travis Kelce, first pick, just because for a position overall, I don't believe there is one player that is worth having in a position over Travis Kelce. I mean, he averages 5 to 10 points over the next best tight end, like weekly. So
it's another wide receiver, really.
Yeah, exactly. And in a couple of my leagues, I felt like with grabbing Kelce first round, I was able to get like 2 to 3 number one wide receivers. So we'll see how that plays out for me. I mean, I'm lacking on the running backs in leagues, but I mean, I got Breece Hall from the Jets. Jamie, you do not know, unless you've been watching this show for the past like 3 weeks, you do not know how big of a New York Jets fan I am now. I mean, Hard Knocks.
Higher than the plane.
I have been drinking the Kool-Aid Aaron Rodgers has been making and feeding to Garrett Wilson this summer.
Yeah.
This past August. Have you been watching it?
No, not a whole lot, but I know.
Oh man, I'm not gonna lie. I'm hanging on to the bandwagon like you are. Yeah, I know you're a Steelers fan and I'm still a Ravens fan, but I'm like, man, I like the Jets. So I got Brees Hall, hoping that he makes that bounce back from that ACL injury from last year. But yeah, I'm ready. I got one more draft and I'm ready to go. And like I said, the Bring It In League, the last two teams are getting eliminated. Unless you're a show host. I got to put that asterisk in there kind of just because, I mean, we need to be in it just to talk about it. Things like that. So, I mean, it's the week. It is the week where things begin.
Yeah, well, what happened was I ended up getting auto draft on my last 4 or 5 picks because I was out back cooking some steaks.
Oh, yeah.
I got caught up and I was like, oh, crap. And we actually went fast through those rounds and I got smacked.
Yeah, everybody. That got me the first pick in our league is the fact that everybody in that league was ready to roll and draft. And when that happened, I was lucky that I got Travis Kelce because that was an auto draft because we got to the 11th pick so fast. It was like the draft started. I ran into my kitchen, let my dogs out, ran back to my phone, and it had already picked Travis Kelce for me. But I was like, I saw that it made a pick, and I was like, oh, man, who did I get? And I checked, and it was Kelce, and I was like, all right, that's who I was aiming for. So, and then I was getting ready for bed in my second draft, and I got my first 3 picks auto drafted.
I saw that, bro. I was so confused.
But I was second pick, but I had already, when I was setting things up, I had already queued up Travis Kelce to pick him because that's who I mean, like I said, that's who I wanted. And then by the time I got to my phone, it was the 4th round. But I was okay with my picks, T. Higgins and Smith. So, I mean, some wide receivers there.
So it went Kelce, T. Higgins, and Smith.
Yeah.
That's weird. Why wouldn't they got you a running back?
I guess there was just no running back
With
available at that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the running backs went quick. It seemed like as soon as somebody got one going, there was a run on that.
Yeah.
Which I think, it took a little while to get there because all of this talk about how the running back isn't an important factor in the offense anymore, like all this preseason with all these sports shows and everything with contract situations and everything. But
yeah,
man, you still got to have a couple of decent running backs for fantasy. I don't care because you got to get points.
You got to get points.
So, and then, man, I tried so hard. I told myself that I never end up with a really good quarterback because I spend so much time trying to pick out the best position players as I can.
Yeah.
And over-evaluating situations and then not making the right selection and all that stuff. So anyway, but we'll move on from that. But, man, I swear to God I was going to get a good quarterback this year. And sure enough, I overlooked them getting drafted, and I end up with the same guy I get every daggone year, Kirk Cousins. I'm so angry that I let this go on me again.
Bro, I got Anthony Richardson as a starting quarterback in Glenn's league.
I almost grabbed him, but I grabbed Kirk Cousins before. And
that's how late I waited to get a quarterback.
Yeah, but I think it's Kirk's year.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins.
You know he's gonna at least give you good games. He's not going to be a terrible quarterback. Maybe one game a season.
You're going to get 2-1 touchdowns to interceptions on him most of the time. At
Yeah.
minimum, 3-1 sometimes. But
That's safe. It's safe.
well, and he does have the number one receiver in the league because he's
Yeah.
obviously the number
Yeah.
one drafted fantasy player in the league.
Hawkinson's there, right?
Yeah, Hawkinson's there.
And tight end. I mean, bro, he's got a lot of dump down options.
I think
And,
I think KJ Osborne's going to have a breakout year.
I appreciate you guys making me feel a little better about it, but still doesn't change the fact that I always end up with this guy.
No, I mean, I understand. But I have a rookie at quarterback, bro. Like, you're good.
Yeah, I think this is the year to have Kirk Cousins. The running game is going to go solely through Madison now, giving him time and whatnot. I really like KJ Osborne picking up, almost being the new, almost being like a T. Higgins, like that solid number 2 guy. So
He's gonna be good.
I mean, maybe I'm drinking too much Kirk Cousins Kool-Aid too from watching the NFL show on Netflix. But I mean, really, when you watch that, it's like Patrick Mahomes is the guy to have. But
yeah,
you gotta go after him.
Yeah,
I don't know how early he went in most
second
drafts.
round.
Yeah, but
some people were taking him in the first
He's going real quick.
First and second round.
Yeah. So, I mean, hopefully everybody out there, you did what you needed to do for your fantasy picks. Stick with us real quick. I'm going to see if I can get this computer to start working again and get some station information out to you guys. You are listening to WRUULP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Sound News Community Radio with Global Soul.
Hey, Glenn, your name tag has the Bing It In Show at the Bing It In Show, not the Bring It In Show. Check out your tag where your video is. Can you see that?
Yeah.
See where my name says Bays and yours says Kells?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he can't hear me right now.
But yeah, you're right. He's missing an R.
Yeah, I don't think he could hear that.
At least the computer started working. Got my expensive league draft tonight.
Ooh.
5 o'clock, but
Yeah, this is the only league I'm doing this year.
you normally just do one, right?
I do a couple with another. I've done a couple with another guy for the last few, for last bunch of years, and then I quit with him a couple of years ago. But then he needed some people back, so I was like, "Yeah, I'll come back." So I did it for a couple of years, and then I'm like, "Man, I just don't have time to keep up with it, man. I'd never be able to. I'd never get to the."
Yeah, and welcome back to the Bring It In Show. So, guys, did you guys watch any football this weekend?
Of course I
Little
did.
I mean, it was week 1 of college football season. The hottest story out of college football is Deion and what Colorado did to TCU. Some people are arguing about the performance they put out there. But from you guys, we had Caleb Williams throw for 319 yards, 5 touchdowns against Nevada, USC quarterback. Sanders throw for 510 yards, 4 touchdowns, a school record. Bo Nix played like three quarters or a half of football and maybe a couple snaps. Got 287 yards, 3 touchdowns in pretty much it half of football. And then Michael Penetrex, 450 yards and 5 touchdowns. Man, those are a lot of touchdowns week 1.
A lot of
Yeah.
tutties. A lot of adjustments
Man,
to be made there.
it was good to have, it was good to have football back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Week one. We got a lot to go through.
We got a whole lot to go through.
Oh God, there's so much season.
But
Yeah.
while all these guys had great games, Colorado's the only team that had the upset. They beat a ranked team. Now, TCU, yeah, they were in the national championship last year, but I feel like they lost like over 20 players, or at least 19 or something. So it's a total different team. But I think this says a lot about Deion as an actual coach, a motivator. He has 86 new players, and in 6 months, he took a team that went 1-11 last year to go through a football game and only have 6 penalties. 6 penalties is the biggest thing. Now, that defense needs to shore up a lot more, but there was a chance for Travis Hunter to get a second pick. And, I mean, I've already seen people talking about how he's already in the Heisman talk, but there's a lot of football to go through. And it's a violent sport. We don't know what's going to happen. But if he keeps racking off wins or racking off games like he had, like over 110 yards and an interception, I mean, it's going to be hard to beat him, especially the fact that I think they have 2 to 3 more ranked teams going on. But, I mean, this next week in college football should start to tell us what's going on, because we're going to have some more matchups of ranked teams. Some guys have moved up, some guys are moving down. LSU got beat up bad by Florida State. Did you guys see that? Beat them by like 20 points. So what happens to LSU after that? We're waiting. We still have one football game left. So we're still waiting on the rankings after week 1. I'm hearing Colorado's win puts them up around 18 or so, dropping TCU down to 24, but we'll see what goes on after this Clemson game tonight.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, it's nice just to see some football, and we had that first matchup between two ranked teams, LSU, Florida State. Florida State came to play, and when I see them beat up on another top 10 team week one, I mean, one, it takes guts in college football to play, to have a ranked versus ranked matchup week one. I mean, you don't see these teams doing that. A lot of these teams using week one almost like a preseason game. Let's get an easy game so we can make sure that the wheels are greased. So, I mean, I think that's a lot of guts to schedule that right off the bat. But first thing I think of is I was like, man, what if Travis Hunter had stayed at Florida State? That defense would be even scarier. But that's a what if. That's a what if. We'll see. And who knows if Travis Hunter would really be as good as he is if he wasn't being coached by Deion. I mean, just on Colorado, if you guys get a chance to watch these guys, I don't know if Deion's actually making them do footwork drills like with him personally, but these guys, they can cut a rug on that field. I'm telling you that. But on Thursday, it's what we live for. Thursday night starts our NFL season. Lions versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Who are you guys picking on this one? It's not hard, is it?
Patty the Batty. The Chiefs.
Yeah, I figured. I mean, Kansas City's favored by 6.5. But through this weekend, I picked my top 4 games to watch. Top 4. I don't know if these are going to link up with you guys or not, but I picked these games because I feel like these 4 games are the 4 games on the schedule that will tell me something. Okay? Coming in at 4, I got the Browns versus the Bengals. Starting off this season with a classic division rivalry. Burrow is questionable at the moment, but hopefully he gets out there because this game's going to tell me a lot more with Joe Burrow out there. The Browns, everybody knows how I feel about the Browns. Everybody knows what I think about the Browns. I don't have to elaborate on it, I don't think. I'm not the biggest fan of their front office and organization, but a lot of news around them. Deshaun Watson, I mean, this will be his first full season. What do you guys expect from Deshaun Watson, Jamie?
If he has a few hands that catch the ball, he'll probably see the usual Deshaun Watson. I would expect him to be all right. He's got a good running game. Both of who can catch the ball out of the backfield. And he's still got a few guys out there that can catch the ball. Whatever this defense does, because they were like a number 1 defense like 2 years ago. And they were awful last year. We'll see. Yeah. But I wouldn't say like Deshaun's gonna suck at all.
Okay.
No, I mean, I might out there.
I might want him to because of being a Pittsburgh fan and all, but no, look, and it's to me, this is a tough division. There's 4 teams that, depending on how some things go for them, can all be up top. I mean, really, these battles. It's a good game to choose to watch because it's an interdivision game that's going to set the tone for what this division is going to be like to me.
Yeah, Kels.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna come down to the, like Jamie said, the defense, and then the O line staying healthy. And obviously, if they lose Nick Chubb, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they have the potential to be good, but I'm not hyping them up anymore after that one season they were supposed to be this, that, and the third.
With
They
the Baker OBJ season.
yeah, all that. They have the potential to be good, but we'll see.
Yeah. It's gonna really come down to, on the defensive side, how Myles Garrett controls that defense, and if he's still ready to be there and be their leader, or I mean, I feel like I've been hearing that he's almost done with the Browns. So if he's not in at 100%, that defense is going to fall apart, I think. All right. So my number 3 game, and now that I'm looking over it, it's like most are division games. Maybe not all, but most. The Raiders versus the Broncos. The Broncos, after a terrible start with Russell Wilson, coming up against the Raiders, who fell flat on their face the last year compared to how they started the year before. I mean, the year before they were looking like nothing was going to stop them. They were going to roll through teams so easy. And hobbling around, Derek Carr is the man, and then he's gone. Tom Brady, Jimmy Garoppolo, team backup. Tom Brady not playing yet. Does Brady suit up? Does Brady suit up? What if he comes out on Monday night in a uniform? No, but
you know who doesn't need that is Garoppolo.
Right?
It's never worked out good for him.
No.
Brady says, Jimmy, can you come sit down in my office? And as Jimmy sits down, he notices there are pads and a uniform over there. Raiders, silver and black. Brady making his return. We're going to trade you
Right.
to the Cardinals.
That's a good game to watch though, because Broncos D is going to bring it. We know that, but what's the offense going to look like?
Exactly.
Raiders D probably going to bring it. They always do out the gate. But what's the offense going to look like? So I'll let you put that game on there. That one could be a slugfest.
Yeah, Sean Payton making his debut as the Broncos head coach after talking lots of trash on Nathaniel Hackett after last year. So now it's not even like, I feel like him saying how bad Hackett was almost like puts more pressure on him, because okay, if this guy was so bad, then you're going to come in here and shape things up real quick. So, and we know he's a good coach. I mean, he's got a track record. So that's why I put this on there, because last year I thought that division they were going to beat themselves up so much, but it seemed like just the Chiefs rose above everything else. And I wouldn't be surprised really if that happened again. I mean, it's hard to bet against the Chiefs as long as Mahomes is there. I mean,
so you think there's more pressure on the head coach or Russell Wilson?
Oh, I mean, I wasn't even thinking that way, but
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on Russell Wilson.
I think
here's a guy that's just falling apart, and now he's got a great head coach, and there's talent there. It hasn't been able to get used yet. Jerry Jeudy should be one of the best receivers in this league, but where has he been? And they always find a guy that can be great in the running game. There was always good offensive line schemes that kept these quarterbacks in decent protection. It's on Russell Wilson to me. I'm sorry. I'm not sure how you feel, Kels. This is your team. And
Well, it has to be. He got the
strong.
free extension. And last year, I hope the league went on notice of why you don't give guys extension before they play their first game. So it's all on Russell Wilson. Sean Payton. I mean, Sean Payton's been there, done that. Russell Wilson's got to look like he's been there, done that.
Bad coaching does so much, but when you're playing awful, you I mean, that's what I saw Russell Wilson last year. He didn't play well. You can beat bad coaching with good play, and he didn't do it.
Yeah,
but I will say, barring that we don't go through as many injuries as we did last year, knock on wood. That was kind of ridiculous. We had so many injuries in the first few weeks, but Hackett's play calling was atrocious, and Russell Wilson's play was god awful. So I'm right there with you. It's on Russell Wilson. It's all on Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, when you put it that way, then I have to agree that the pressure's all on Russell Wilson because, I mean, Russell Wilson can get benched. And if the coach makes that move in the middle of a game and whoever sits in comes in and plays off their butt, then, I mean, that's going to look even worse for Russell Wilson. So, I mean, and we've seen it especially when Tebow took over for the Broncos. I'm just picturing the Broncos, Tebow taking over, and I mean, he took games over, and who'd he take over for?
Did Tebow come after Manning?
After Manning?
I can't remember if he came at. I feel like he might have came after him. I can't.
Well, yeah, Denver went through a couple of.
We went through a few awful. It wouldn't have mattered who he took over for during a certain stretch, but I just can't remember if that was post or.
It was bad enough that Tebow was the backup. I mean, that's how bad their starters were.
Brock Osweiler was our starter at one point, and so I could go down the list. It was just what are we doing?
Yeah.
All right.
But what's your next matchup?
Yeah. All right. Number 2, I got the Dolphins versus the Chargers. The Chargers, all offseason, I have to hear about Lamar Jackson's contract, this and that, when it finally happens. And I know there were different things going on. It finally happens, and you hear things about what's he done, and then you turn around and Herbert gets a little more, which that's just the norm in the NFL. But a guy who hasn't proved anything in my eyes of he deserves to be one of the top paid quarterbacks. I mean, it's tough because the division he's in, and he's going to keep going up against these good teams, because I expect the Raiders and the Broncos to bounce back and be a good team again, be good teams again. But I need to see what the Chargers are really built on. If it's just a defense and a quarterback who can run a decent 2-minute drill and stuff, that's what I've seen going on in San Diego for a decade or 2 decades. I mean, Philip Rivers wasn't a bad quarterback. He was a really good quarterback. The end of the game, he's always down by 8 points. Half the time he wins, half the time he loses. That was Philip Rivers. I need to be proven that that's not the quarterback in San Diego. And unfortunately for him, he gets a lot of blowback because of where San Diego has been with their quarterback situation for decades. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I see with the Chargers. And then I got so many questions on the Dolphins quarterback side too.
Yeah.
I mean, that Dolphins team is fully loaded except a backup quarterback. They don't have a backup quarterback that can command what Tua can. They can't. They will fall flat on their face if Tua, the weight and the jujitsu have not paid off. So I'm looking forward to seeing that game.
Yeah, and we'll figure out how those defenses are right off the rip.
Yeah,
They're both going up against big hitters, so that's both those defenses on both those teams. Another great matchup. One week, oh man, they're solid. The next week, where did y'all go? What happened? Did y'all go partying last night? Like Jesus.
Yeah, and that's the thing to me with the Chargers is the fact that, hey, I can't argue the money's a lot with him with that quarterback contract because he's a franchise quarterback, and the one thing that's held him back or that team back has been having a good defense. Honestly, they have high scoring games and they lose a lot of them. So I think Herbert's going to he's going to stay a good quarterback as long as they keep good weapons around him, and that'll help him. But you're right. Without seeing those wins in the playoffs, it's kind of weird to see the commitment on the money. But those contracts are weird anyway in the NFL, all the way up and down. I can't even, I don't even get. That's a whole nother show for like 4 or 5 hours of talk.
You ain't lying.
But I do like your interest in Tua in this matchup because again, you're talking about a division that's interesting to me with the way the Jets are developing. New England is picked to be the last place team, but somehow Belichick always seems to have a team that's better than what everybody's saying they are. Let's see what happens. All right, and the Bills are the Bills. So for me, I'm interested because potentially a playoff spot for my team could linger with what happens in that division. So without Tua there, and God forbid somebody actually bumps into him and he's out for 4 games with a concussion.
Yeah.
If they don't have Tua, you're right. With the weapons they have, it seems like you could plug me or you or Kels in there and we could get a win somehow. But for some reason, no, they don't have a good enough backup. And that you're right. I might not be the most interesting game on there for me, but I do like the matchup because it's going to tell us a lot about both of those teams. True.
And Glenn's right. Like, what you see Miami do every year, because they obviously are solid on receiver. They go sign running back. But then it's like, where's your backup quarterback? Like, where is your backup quarterback?
Yeah. They're still reeling over the pain of that Tom Brady deal falling through.
Bingo.
It's like that's really what it's going
All right.
on.
And
all right.
The final one. What is your number one matchup?
My number one matchup is the last game of the week next Monday. On 9/11, we have the Buffalo Bills versus the New York Jets. This is like one of those ranked battles in college. You start the week, you start the season really figuring out who you are. We know who the Bills have been for the past 3 seasons. Is this the season they get over that hump? Or have they been stagnant in a world of winning just enough to where now they're going to start falling apart? And then the Jets, a extremely young team built with a shot of ayahuasca put right in at quarterback, aka Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
So that's my biggest. That's my number one. And the NFL, I feel like they knew this was going to be a big matchup because they put it for the first Monday Night Football game.
All right, now I got to ask.
All right.
Is this going to be a situation where the Bills come out there and not expose them, but beat them by probably a couple scores because they've been together and the Jets are working out the kinks? Or is this going to be a Colorado and Deion Sanders situation where the Jets just come out there firing on all cylinders? Because the Jets' defense has been together a good bit of them, a good chunk of them. So I don't see them giving up 40-something points like Colorado did. But what do y'all think?
Jamie?
Yeah. I don't expect the Bills to come out and score 40-something points. This Jets defense is for real, and I'm going to put it out there right now. They're probably going to be a top 3 defense in AFC. That defensive
Sauce
line
Gardner,
that defensive line is the best one in the league. They got 2 of the best combo cornerbacks in the league. Man, they're good, and this combination that you're going to see on offense with the Jets is it's a similar number receiving the ball, but it's a different guy who is Rodgers is going. He and this guy are going to be best friends, and you keep an eye out for him. And I'm so mad because I wanted to take him in my first round, and then I said, no, he's going to come back around to me, and I didn't take him, and then he was gone to pick before me, and I was like, argh! And it was a guy I wanted in the draft.
Yeah.
So Garrett Wilson, you're going to see
Garrett Wilson.
He is going to be the number 1 receiver in the league. I swear to God.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And with Breece Hall, and, man, the Bills don't have enough defense for this. I'm sorry. The Bills are going to get shaken up. There's going to be nobody's going to get exposed, Kels. Bills are going to get exposed in this game.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't see the Bills scoring 40 points, just like Jamie said. Quentin Williams, CJ Mosley, inside linebackers, control. I mean, Williams is a scary man. And yeah, Garrett Wilson, he is good.
And I hope I see Sauce Gardner on.
You nailed it, Jamie. Sauce Gardner, bro.
Yeah, I hope he's playing. I hope he's paired up with Stephon Diggs.
Yep.
Because
that's
you're gonna see it. You're gonna see a new thing out there. It's gonna be a different island on Jets. It's gonna be
I know we're running
Sauce
out of time,
Island.
Sauce Island.
Sauce Gardner. I know it's a video game. Top 5 corner in Madden in his second season.
Yeah, he's the top corner.
Along with my boy.
In the NFL.
Yeah.
I think he's the top corner in the NFL. I mean,
well,
we're going up to Buffalo for some chicken wings, but the only sauce that's coming out is Gardner.
Yeah. And Glenn, I'm curious to see now that with your Ravens, again, divisionally, I'm interested. There ain't no excuse. There's a handful of weapons. If this dude cannot figure out how to throw a pass and not run all the while, because if he keeps running, he's going to get hurt and you're not going to win.
Oh no, you have it 100% right.
So I'm interested in that and how he comes out and what he does this first week. He's going against Houston, who's not a very good defense, so this is his chance. Houston's okay on offense, but defensively, I want to see what they can do this year. They feel like they may have got better. And then, of course, my number 1 game of interest is the Steelers and the 49ers because everybody's talking about how great the 49ers are, and my Steeler defense is ready to do some damage.
Yeah. I hope you're right. I drafted them.
Yeah, they're gonna be good. They're gonna be good, Kels.
I
That's
think
what I
they
wanna
are too.
hear.
It's
And I
going to
got
be
the
a
Jets
tough.
in another
The
league.
defense
That's what I
will.
want to hear.
We'll see what they can do on offense. I love this dude Warren. They got backing up Najee, and a couple of decent hands out there. You watch my boy Pickens this year, one handing it everywhere.
Oh yeah, and
I got him in one.
I thought about putting our teams on the top, but I couldn't pick between for a fifth, so I just went with 4. But yeah, I mean the Ravens, if they can't do it right now, then it's time for a new quarterback.
I'm ready for a Purdy flop.
Oh,
Purdy flop.
I know we're not on air, but sleeper game between like us three, just because I want to see if another team gets exposed. Aren't the Cowboys playing the Giants?
Yes, they
Yes,
Sleeper exposure. Sleeper
That's
exposure.
the
Calling
Sun-
now.
that's the Sunday night game.
Oh, perfect. The Giants thrive on Sunday night sometimes. Let's go.
Yeah.
Cowboys getting exposed week 1.
I hope Pollard doesn't.
No. It'll
but-
be a high scoring game, I think. But I think the Giants defense will surprise you and might come out being the better defense that week. I think the Cowboys have a better defense all year, but I think the Giants defense week 1 is going to surprise people.
Yeah. Yeah, I really
It's
can't. I'm so excited. I got one last draft tomorrow.
I got one more today.
tomorrow
And
night.
just so you guys know, I bought the NFL ticket
Did you?
on YouTube TV. Yep.
Yes. I'll be in the
So-
hills some Sundays.